Hi, Joe Goldberg here. Welcome to week 2. Great job on week 1. Greatly appreciate all the comments on the discussion forum. You hit all the key topics, or many of the key topics, for convergence in social media and technology and the way communications is moving. Verification, fake, addiction, in education, globalization, all the topics that are the foundation as we move forward. I think Barron uses going forward to discussing communications history and its current relevance to society. We're in week 2 now. We're in print. 3 chapters on the major print topics: books, newspapers, magazines. You have to have the history to know where we're going, to talk about the future. And there's like 4 topics I want you to pay attention to as you're looking at the print topic. Everything's about money. The economics, who makes money on books, who makes money on newspapers, selling print, who makes money on magazines, whether it's specialty magazines or general magazines. That drives just about everything. And so think about that when it comes down to the consolidation of the industry. How many channels are there now to actually get newspapers, magazines? Who owns books? There's like 5 book publishers, but now Amazon is big. The radio stations, the Xfinity for cable, Fox and Disney, they're all owned by major conglomerates on an international level, issue 3. All this is happening not just the United States. Right now there are students taking communications classes around the world studying communications and looking at the United States, looking at the world and how we're all more interconnected than ever, because some of that conglomeration is owned by international companies. They're watching CNN or Fox News and whatever we're watching Sky News, whatever it might be. Those are owned by entities, big corporate entities, someplace else. And the final idea is, if all this is happening globally and it's all about economics, what happens to local? What happens to your local newspaper, your local radio station, the coverage of the issues that are in your neighborhood, the things that statistically people care about the most? In the Chicago area, the WGN is our local big TV station. Well, there's major network TV stations, but they cover the local news. And those stations are owned by somebody else. And if it becomes a conglomerate, how can you make sure that the issues of the society are being met locally by entities that may be based in other countries? I have the data from the SurveyMonkey. Thank you for everybody for doing that. I'll be crunching it. It's interesting. I'll get that to you this week. Some interesting stuff, some stuff that's right on, some stuff that's always interesting to read, but I will get that to you. There is a quiz this week on these 3 chapters. I'll post it on Wednesday, and then it will be up until Sunday night, 11:59, and then I'll shut it down. You have 30 questions. You get an hour to do it, 1 chance. It's open book, open notes. Do whatever you need to get the answers right. I'm not into memorizing stuff. Even if I have when I have classrooms, it's always open book. People learn better. They're flipping through pages, reading back and forth, and just trying to memorize stuff and dump it later on. And probably the thing you're most interested in this week is the assignment. This is an interesting assignment. It takes a little bit of discipline, and I hope that you actually do it. But I think when you come out the other side, almost everybody, in fact, everybody who does this assignment says they've learned something about themselves that they didn't understand before it started. So for week 2, this week, I want you to track your interactions, usage, exposure to mass communication of all type. And that's a big deal. I mean, advertising and TV, radio, all that stuff is out there. So just do the best you can to find the amount of information you're getting from this particular medium, how much time you're spending on it, what the content might be, just to give yourself an idea. You can track it on your phone, you can track on Notepad, attach the assignment. There's this little form you can use if you want. Just some way that you can say, I've got statistically relevant data that I can put into my chart here at the end. There's always some, I understand, who are not going to do it, and they're going to just put numbers in the box and send it off to me, and I can't do anything about it, but there's usually sort of a range of how much information, how much data people use, so I kind of have an idea if these numbers are skewed some one direction or another. But that's the way it goes. When you're done at part 1, which is tracking, there's a chart, and there is a chart here, and some questions I want you to answer. And I want you to use that in part 2. Part 2 is actually writing this up. That's week 3. So week 3, I want you to write me up a 600 to 800 word double-spaced document that is your analysis of your usage. What was interesting to you? What did you not think about going in that you saw coming out? There's something that surprised you about what you used or what you didn't use, or was all what you expected? Whatever it might be. Give me your critical thoughts on your usage of media, because it's different for everybody. There's no right or wrong. This is all about you. 600 words, spelling, grammar, punctuation, all count with me. You guys know that. I want you to put the data from tracking in somewhere into the assessment, or at least attach it to the assessment piece at the end or at the beginning. Embed the chart in your assessment and the questions and speak to it. Use it as a visual aid, because I like you to be creative. I talked about that in the first video. Be creative in the putting this together, because we don't have a bunch of reading and writing and quizzes. It gets boring. So be creative. What I don't want is a blow-by-blow. On Monday I got up. Tuesday I did this. Wednesday I saw this. Don't give me a journal entry. Don't want that at all. I want this to be a critical thinking. It's 50 points. It's due 2 weeks. It's due, what is that, June 23rd, Sunday night. So all of this week and all of next week. We'll still have blackboards. We'll still have quizzes, but this is on top of it. If there's any questions, let me know. Send me an email. I greatly appreciate your work in this class. I appreciate the way you're looking at the blackboards. And thank you very much. I will be talking to you next week.